my dad in 2019 from leukemia, and my mom in 2022 from breast cancer metastasized. And it took me on a deep dive on, first of all, I wanted to know what it meant genetically for me and for my sister. And I really got into epigenetics, which is a study of how stress detonates in our body and what predisposition diseases stress can detonate in our body. And I really got into the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. It was amazing. If you guys don't know, get into it. You can find a million YouTube videos and you can see if he's your thing. If he's not your thing, read my book. So, you know, after really taking a deep dive on epigenetics and quantum studies, I really realized that, you know, your predisposed genes, if you don't set them off, if you don't spike them through cortisol, then you know you don't have to have a cancer situation happen. And not only that, but you can have so much more of a peaceful life. So the idea of the book was actually I started to work with Dr. Joe, and I was a volunteer. And then, you know, here he is talking about when you focus on something and you put energy behind it, it starts to grow. So, you know, being mindful about what we say is super, super important. And as he's explaining this, you know, we'd go on break and then the staff or the participants were like, I hate this food, Mary sucks. And like, they were just complaining and I'm like, dude, what? You just heard the guy. So it was a joke. It was a joke that I made to like one of his #1 people that I was like, oh my God, if I ever write a spiritual book, it's gonna be called Shut the Fuck. And that was it. I was like, I got it. I know what my mission in life is now done. And she dared me. She's like, when are you gonna start? And I'm like, soon. And she's like, how about next week? And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And the book just kind of flew out of me. I think, you know, it's a combination of years of things that I've studied in India and through, you know, Byron Katie and Tony Robbins and Abraham Hicks. But really, Dr. Joe's work was like the last dot that connected all the dots, you know. And what I wanted to focus on is the way we talk. You know, the way that we very innocently create relatedness through gossip. And we think it's innocent, but we're just... Heather McDonald's like, it's my bread and butter. No, but, you know, you're an exception. But she had me on her podcast, and I really launched the book, so she can say whatever she wants. You should have me on again because sales really did help. So I just kind of, you know, I wrote the book really, I wanted to take the reader through, you know, baby steps, training wheels, all the way to PhD. So we go from like issues that you have with your coworkers or your mother-in-law to literally the Big Bang and how the universe was created. And that leads me to a conversation that I wanted to have really quick because I am Venezuelan. And I don't know if you guys know but what's happening in Venezuela right now, which is, you know, without getting too much into the story, it's you know, there's a lot of upheaval in the country, you know, and obviously as a Venezuelan citizen, I can't not look at Instagram and stuff. And the only thing that I'm really left with and that I have in the book is that I talk a lot about chaos and how chaos is part of the order. If we look back at the biggest chaos that ever happened was the Big Bang, and out of the Big Bang, the universe was made. If you look through a microscope on a bacteria dish, you'll find that bacteria fighting, and out of that a cell is born. Out of that a tissue is born, an organ is born, and a human is born. So we at the core come from chaos. So right now I know we look at whether it's the political climate or the Middle East or Venezuela or our lives. I'm not saying not to ignore it, but to also just know that the chaos in many ways is part of the order. You know, it's like if you go and renovate your house, you don't walk in the middle of the renovation like, what's this roof doing? The floor sucks and the kid, like, you know that it's pretty soon you'll have your turnkey home. So don't forget that chaos is part of the whole thing. I'll take that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to read chapter 1. It's short, so don't be scared.
Sorry.
I know, whenever I come to these things and the artists take too long, I'm like, where's the food? But I really think that this chapter 1 kind of tells the whole story of kind of like what I just said, but also, does this work? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? And it kind of explains a little deeper what the whole book is about. And I need glasses, but it's okay. So chapter 1, heal faster, help faster.
Do you want my glasses?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
What does healing look like? Healing looks different for each of us. In my experience, when I can think back on a once painful event without a hurtful emotion, that's healing. Life is going to happen to all of us. And yes, some of us are going to lose our loved ones to cancer. Some of us are going to lose the love of our lives. And some of us will lose our health or even a child. When I say lose, I mean it as the completion of a cycle, whether that's by someone or something going away or dying. But what if that horrible loss that we're so scared of can also be the greatest catalyst for our healing? The kind of healing that will affect and heal people all around us. The other day, I was talking to one of my best friends, Mark. We both lost our parents to cancer. Having lost both of our parents made us able to offer help to other people through our stories, allowing us to become examples of vulnerability and strength. I'm not saying that everyone who has been through a loss should think about becoming a motivational speaker. Yet I do find it interesting that so many people who have suffered loss and grief have turned their path into service. At the core, we're all wired to help, to be of service to humankind. When we overcome a massive loss, whether it's physical or emotional, we serve as the 4-minute mile. When the first person in history broke the first 4-minute mile running, everyone else started doing it after. But it took one person to do it first. It took one person to show us it was possible. When I refer to overcoming something like a loss, a physical challenge, or an emotional challenge, it doesn't need to look like anything specific, meaning that once we get to a place where we feel at peace with our current situation, we are healed. I was at a retreat once where I met a man who had ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a neurological disease that inhibits your body's motor skills. He was at peace with his ALS condition, and he told me that he was way happier than when in his former days when he had full body motion control but was feeling depressed. For him, living successfully with ALS was being in a state of wholeness, regardless of its ALS diagnosis or symptoms. To him, this was true freedom. Everyone's process is perfect. We all have our way of dealing with our difficult time. For myself, overcoming the loss of my parents was important on many levels. It served as my example of how the human spirit prevails and was the catalyst for me to pursue a path of healing and to put this information out there in the world. I'm here to be of service with my life experiences, and I know I'm not the only one. If you're one of my kind, I see you, and thank you for joining me on this Shut the Fuck Up Method journey.
You're beautiful. Somebody's taking care of you.
Because I believe that, you know, we all are the 4-minute mile in our own way. We all have our story, and maybe we should all consider that horrible thing that we're so scared of, or that it happened, could actually be the thing that is the catalyst so we could heal the world and really help other people with it. So just want to share that. All right, so now we're gonna light it up. We're gonna lighten the mood a little, and we're gonna play a little game that actually I